Hello friends, welcome to ACE Tutorials. Today we are going to discuss Routh array for nth order characteristic equation. The nth order general form of characteristic equation of closed loop transfer function can be represented as a0 into s to the power n plus a1 into s to the power n minus 1 plus a2 into s to the power n minus 2 plus a3 into s to the power n minus 3 plus a4 into s to the power n minus 4 plus a5 into s to the power n minus 5 plus in this way the term increases depending upon the order of the characteristic equation and ends with plus an is equal to 0. First, from this characteristic equation we are going to form the coefficient array. For that we need to consider highest power of the s from this characteristic equation. You can see the highest power of the s is in this case s to the power n. By taking that, by considering here s to the power n and other power of s by considering in decrementing order, that is you can see s to the power n minus 1, s to the power n minus 2, s to the power n minus 3, s to the power n minus 4, s to the power n minus 5. In this way we are going to end with s to the power 0. Next we will form the rows of the array. For that you can see the s to the power n coefficient is a0. I am writing first that a0, and then for the second value we are going to consider the alternate value of this characteristic equation. That is, you can see s to the power n alternate value is s to the power n minus 2 and its coefficient is a2. I have taken that. Next, for third term we are going to take the alternate value of s to the power n minus 2, that is s to the power n minus 4 and its coefficient is a4, and I have taken the a4 in this. Now in this way we are going to form the first row, and for the second row you can see here I have considered s to the power n minus 1. You can see in the characteristic equation s to the power n minus 1 coefficient is a1, that I have considered here first value a1. Now to get the second value we are going to take the alternate value of this s to the power n minus 1. You can see alternate value of s to the power n minus 1 is s to the power n minus 3 and its coefficient is a3, that I have taken here a3. And to get the third value we are going to take the alternate value of s to the power n minus 3, that is s to the power n minus 5 and its coefficient is a5, and I have written here a5. This is one method where we are going to form the two rows directly from the characteristic equation. The other way you can see here, by taking the even coefficients we are going to form the first row. Even coefficients are a0, a2, a4, a0, a2, a4. In this way, if more even coefficients are there, we can represent in the first row. Now for the second row you can see we are going to consider odd coefficient a1, a3 and a5. a1, a3, a5. You consider either the first method or you can consider the second method, but remember that we are going to get the first two rows directly from the characteristic equation, and third row we are going to obtain by this method, that is by multiplying second row first element with first row second element. You can see a1 into a2, a1 into a2 minus first element of first row with second row second element by multiplying first row first element with second row second element. You can see here a0 into a3 whole divided by a1. So in this way we are going to get the third row first value, which is equated to b1. Instead of writing this full value, I have equated this whole value with b1, which I have considered here b1. So like this, now to get the second value of the third row we are going to multiply second row first value with first row third value, a1 into a4. You can see here a1 into a4 minus first row first value a0 multiplied with second row third value a5. You can see here a0 into a5, a0 into a5 whole divided by a1, whole divided by a1. This whole value equated to b2, and instead of writing this whole value I have shown this B2 here. So in this way we are going to form the third row. Next, to get the fourth row, we are going to consider here, we are going to multiply B1 into A3, B1 into A3 minus A1 into B2 minus A1 into B2 whole divided by B1 whole divided by B1, and this whole value I have equated to C1, and instead of writing this whole value, in this case also I have represented by C1. Next, so to get the fourth row second value, we are going to multiply now B1 with A5, B1 with A5 minus A1 with 0, A1 with 0 divided by B1 divided by B1. So whole value is equated to C2, which I have represented here in the fourth row. You can see the next fifth row by multiplying C1 into B2, C1 into B2 minus B1 into C2, B1 into C2 whole divided by C1, whole divided by C1. You can see that first value I have considered in the denominator C1. Now this whole value I have equated to D1, and here I have represented by D1. Next, here I have not shown any values, therefore I have considered this value as a 0. To next, to get sixth row, you can see D1 into C2, D1 into C2 minus C1 into 0, C1 into 0, so whole divided by D1. You can see here the first value I have considered in the denominator. So this whole value I have equated to E1, and here in this I have represented that by E1. In this way we are going to continue to multiply till AN. Now after forming the array, we are going to determine the stability of the system from this array. For a system to be stable, the condition is in the first column of the array all the coefficients should have the same sign. There should not be any sign change. If any sign change if you find, then the system is said to be unstable. For a stable system, in the first column all the coefficients should have the same sign, then only it is considered as stable system. For an example, you can see for unstable, if I consider minus sign here, then you can see plus coefficient, and here from plus it is changing to minus, then from minus it is changing to plus, and all other plus only. You can see here from plus to minus one sign change, minus to plus one sign change, total two sign change, means two poles on the right hand side of the S-plane. So in this way, if you consider one more example, if you consider here minus sign, then now you can see here plus no sign change, from plus to minus one sign change, minus to plus two sign change, plus to minus three sign change, minus to plus four sign change. That means here in this you can see total four sign changes. That means four poles on the right hand side of the S-plane. We know that even one pole comes to the right hand side of the S-plane means the system is unstable. By this example, here you can see four sign changes we can observe here. So due to that, four poles are on the right hand side of the S-plane. That means system is unstable. See, always remember, sometimes in the problems he may ask by giving certain poles. For example, if I take a sixth order characteristic equation for this example, in sixth order, if four sign changes if you find, that means in total 6 poles, 4 poles are coming to the right hand side and 2 poles are remaining in the left hand side. If you ask to find the number of poles on the right hand side and number of poles on the left hand side, then by looking into the number of sign changes, you can say like by this example you can say 4 poles on the right hand side and 2 poles on the left hand side. If no sign changes, then if the order of the characteristic equation is 6, then you can say all the 6 poles are on the left hand side of the S-plane and 0 poles on the right hand side of the S-plane. At the same time, he may ask the question, how many poles on the imaginary axis? In this case, there is no poles on the imaginary axis. Next, you have to make a note that during array formation, in the first column, first value of any row like A1, B1, C1 or D1, any value if it becomes 0. For example, suppose consider A1. If during the formation of the array, if A1 value is 0, not the entire row 0, only the first value if it is 0, then in such case whatever the multiplication I will be doing, I will be dividing with this value. That means anything divided by 0 is infinity. That means what happens, the next process of root array fails in this case when first value of any row becomes 0. In such case, we are going to use Routh-Hurwitz case 1 method that I will be discussing in the next video. So you should remember that only first value, not the entire row. There should be any one value, either second value or third value should be non-zero value. Now one more condition which you have to make a note. During the process of this array formation, you may get complete row 0. In this case also, to further proceed, we are going to use Routh-Hurwitz case 2 method to form the array. Remember, these are the two conditions. One condition is the first value of any row, if it becomes 0, then we'll be using Routh-Hurwitz case 1 method. If entire row becomes 0, then we'll be using Routh-Hurwitz case 2 method. Hope you understood this video. For more such videos, like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.